Good day, everybody! Woo! Well, it's a little after Halloween, but might as well talk about something spooky for the time being. Spooky like all those chocolates I ate because not too many kids showed up at my door and I probably gained a few pounds, becoming chubby and all that. Anyways, let's talk about the next thing, and that is sometimes running a convention can be very scary. Sometimes when furries run a convention, the hotels become very scared. In fact, some very famous situations in the past had very infamous times for the furry fandom when we had conventions close due to us scaring the hotels with particular antics that weren't checked by security and con staff. You might remember an infamous video for Rainfurrest on this particular website. But lo, when the fault is of the fandom itself for closing the doors to a particular venue for the furry fandom, it is not always the furry fandom's fault for contracts and negotiations with hotels falling through. Sometimes, just sometimes, it could be the unseemly behavior, the unseemliness can come from the other side of the table. And this is the scary thing that I was talking to you. We are going to talk about spooky hotels. And I have a hat for just such an occasion. Oh yeah. When you call on the spooky hotels, you know who to call in. I can't put a hat on my ears, but it's entertaining anyway, so we're going to try it anyway. Oh yeah. It's a cheap Luigi hat. Luigi hat. Yeah, Luigi time. Stick it on an ear. Oh man, I did not try this at all. Luigi hat. Yay! Yay! I'm wearing Luigi hat. We're gonna talk Luigi time. So there's a hotel, okay, in Connecticut, and the hotel in Connecticut is very spooky. I went there with the Mario and it wasn't good. It wasn't a good time. We had to call the Ghostbusters. So anyways, Furpocolyspe is a furry convention. I'm going to take this hat off. No, I want to play Luigi time. So why you not to go as a Mario? You're red. What's the matter for you? What's the matter for you? Why you go as the Luigi? Anyways. So Furpocolyspe is a furry convention that happens, every year around Halloween time. It's typically they have themes of to match with the sort of gothic and haunted decor of the year of that time of the year where the leaves are falling and the sun is fading from the sky, and things get a little bit colder around this time of year. And Furpocolyspe has always had themes to fit around those particular tropes, for better and for worse. There's been controversies around some of them, well, like one in particular, but most of the times it's usually about decays or haunted houses or, apocalyptic wastelands. So furries would come into those kind of drab themes, but also it's a Halloween event, so a lot of people come up dressed in costume, like this particular Ghostbuster, with a decaled car, even putting a lot of effort and a lot of things into their costume. But at the same time, that costume is very fitting because the hotel that they've been in for the past few years has seemingly been cursed. So we will talk about the hotel that Furpocolyspe took place in. It took place in Cromwell, just off the 91. It was called a Renaissance, and then it changed into a Red Lion hotel. So it was once owned by another hotel chain, and then it fell under new management under the Red Lion. As you can see, there's a high PK reading in that pool over there, as the picture in the advertising for the particular hotel is a little bit different than the pool camera shot that this particular furry took at the same angle. As you can see, there's a lot of algae in the pool, as well as a lot of dropped ceiling panels up top around the pillars. A lot of rust, a lot of other sort of haunted and decays. So it sounds like, from the people who were there, that the story behind this is that this hotel has an indoor swimming pool, as you can see. And that indoor swimming pool was not engineered in the best manner. It sort of either wasn't ventilated well enough, or the architecture just didn't jibe and ebb and flow too well. I'm not an architect myself, but by the sounds of it, the moisture in the moistness created by the indoor swimming pool was not properly ventilated in the way that it started to impact the rest of the hotel in a very negative manner. And it's been going on. It's been in the upkeep and the degradation of the hotel has been, accelerating sort of every year since about 2015 or 2014. Like, little stories came up, but more and more have come up every year that they've been at this hotel. So this year was their final year at this particular hotel. And so as their send-off, obviously we have some pictures from some people who were there. A lot of reports of things like black mold and like things that, not very good for the lungs to breathe in. No breathing with your lungs. If you had one of those little... If you wanted to go as a costume at this particular venue, a nurse or a surgeon would be a good one to pick. Because you get to have an excuse to wear that mask on your face, which apparently you'd want to wear when dealing with panels like this. So moisture would very much get up in the ceiling and would grow mold things. There were stories here and there about individual furries who would get rooms as well. They would get keys for rooms, and then they would be told, like by staff, it's like, oh, we need that key back. You can't go into that room. That room's condemned. So we're going to give you this new key. Instead, there's other things. We got that. So one of the same person here, this person is very prolific. This Grunger Fox dude was very prolific on it. You could tell he's got a lot of Dan Bell in him. And for those of you who aren't familiar with Dan Bell, he has a YouTube channel where he goes around walking around dead malls and things like that. As sort of a YouTube skit, he goes exploring like malls that don't have a lot of heavy foot traffic and malls that are on their way out. So Grunger Fox here put on his inner Dan Bell, and he explored the upper loft in a room that, I don't know if it was his room or if it was somebody else's room that had shared pictures of it. But they had taken pictures of the upper loft, and the upper loft had some sort of abandoned thing. Like it was sort of in the ceiling. So like the ceiling, like if you took the ceiling panel away, you could see this little this side thing, this little guardrail, because there used to be a loft up there. And so he went up there to see that there's a sort of an abandoned loft where the demons come out of the ceilings. So what else was there? I think between the pool and that was mostly about it. Obviously, there was like one of the earlier things I recall seeing from a few years back was mushrooms growing in the thing. So basically, the maintenance and the entire hotel is sort of became worse and worse over a period of time. I do recall seeing another video, which I don't have a clip of here, but there was somewhat of an emergency exit or something, or some description, near somebody else's room, and the door is just ajar, and he just like opened the door, and you could see like out of the roof, and the roof was covered in like blue tarp, and it was raining and wet, and obviously not a very good thing to have like no alarms on your emergency doors and things like that. So obviously, over the period of time, the hotel sort of decor and its sort of management had sort of decayed. It had passed from one hotel management thing to another, and as the contract for that hotel started to come down. Interestingly, I heard rumors, and I don't know whether this is true or not, so I'll put a stipulation on it, that when furries booked rooms for the convention itself, that they had paid basically a premium rate for the institution. If you were to look up this particular hotel's, pricing on the internet, this hotel goes for about $75 a night. It's a 3-star hotel, and you can buy tickets or buy rooms at like $75 a night. Obviously, as it's it's sort of decaying as a hotel, and people aren't really going to it as frequently, probably because word of mouth is coming around of sort of how much in disrepair the property has become in. Not a lot of people are demanding to be going there. The prices for the rooms are decreasing. From what I understand is that for the convention and for the attendance of the convention, the room was at basically similar rates that they were going for in previous years, which was like $125, over $100, which is basically a $30 difference from when you would just book the hotel normally. My guess, and as I said, that if that is the case where people were paying like over $100 for the room for the night, where normally it'd just be $70, I think it might have had to do with contracts. And I think it might, obviously it's like you sign the contract, it's like, oh, we're going to give you a good rate, and if that good rate is a dollar amount that doesn't adjust over time with the normal rate, right? They might have negotiated it, and at the time maybe it was like 110. It's like, okay, 110 is a good rate at this time, and over time as the hotel property sort of decayed, and the dollar value per night went down, that rate didn't adjust for the convention's contract. But now that they're free, now that their soul is set free from their contract, Furpocolyspe is moving. I haven't heard anything along the lines of whether or not they're going to allow for basically. I haven't heard whether or not they're going to increase allowed attendees. Furpocolyspe is known for having a cap on their attendance. And it's sort of been a tradition. It's sort of been a necessity. They've always wanted to keep it about a small con, so it's usually been capped, in the 1,000 attendee range, right? And if they don't go above 2,000. I think it's like either 1,500 attendees as the cap. I don't know whether or not they're going to increase the cap now that they're moving hotel spaces, but it looks like they are moving to Stamford, Connecticut, to a Crown Royale, and Miss Clint Fox here. Clint Fox, have basically sort of scouted out the area, and it looks awful nice. It looks a little less haunted, other than those glowy lights. Ooh, glowy lights. But at least they won't have the cursed swimming pool. So, anyways, hopefully that goes well for them, and it's always good to see conventions moving on from the establishments where they used to come from when the establishment. It's not the first hotel in furry fandom history to come on hard times. If you talk with Anthrocon, they jumped from hotel to hotel, and sometimes when they jumped hotels, the hotel was basically going out of business. So, a lot of people give furry sass that, they have terrible organizations, and they're, and oh, look at how horrible their organizations does when they fall apart. And it's like, well, sometimes the hotels fall apart too, right? Say que sera, sera. Sometimes it's the furries, sometimes it's the hotel, but hopefully at the end of the day, when things move on to a new locale with a fresh pair of eyes, that things will get better over time. So, thank you very much for watching this episode tonight. Kick that like, kick the subscribe button, kick a comment in the comment section. Are you looking forward to going to the new hotel at Furpocolyspe next year? If you are going, you feel free to discuss. Thank you very much. I will see you guys next time.